I dug into North Carolina's, and I would never recommend this to my clients.
Hi, this is Jeff Marsacci, the Plain English Attorney, and welcome to the video. Before we dig into today's topic, please help us get out solid, accurate information on estate planning and Medicaid planning by liking the video and subscribing to the channel.
Welcome to special needs planning. All right, D4A trusts. This is where you can set up a special needs trust, a first party special needs trust, and put your money in there, and therefore it's not going to be counted. This is someone gets into a car accident, they're disabled, they're going to lose their Medicaid, they're going to lose their benefits, but that money has to go somewhere. There's this provision where a specific trust can get set up to put those funds so they don't lose their benefits. But again, there's only certain things that can be used for. It has to be accounted for. Dominique, is that like at least annually, if not more often?
Yes, normally it's annually. You have to file annual reports. So
in other words, it's kind of getting set up for probate, but it's for the situations where you really don't have much of a choice. You should either lose your benefits or spend all that money really, really quickly. Okay? I call this the Narcan of planning. It's an emergency. I've talked with a couple of attorneys that are like, oh yeah, these D4A trusts are great. We're setting them up and we're having it to be the beneficiary of the parents' estates. What? No. No, look, this is a tool, a specialty tool that's there in a pinch, because if it's, you're weighing the lesser of two evils, lose your program money or spend that money as quickly as possible. It's like, okay, no, you can put it in here. But just like with the ABLE accounts, take the money out and use it as you need it. Don't try to stockpile it forever. Rules: no direct cash. So it can't be, oh yeah, you're going down to Comic-Con, here's $20. Nope, can't do it. Only non-covered HEMS expenses. They need an additional hearing aid, and they only get a hearing aid every so often. And Dominique, you can tell me if I'm way off on that. It's like, okay, well, that's a medical expense. It's health, education, maintenance, sports, that type of thing. But it's not covered. Okay, you can go ahead and do that. No, quote, gifts or luxuries. I've had some clients with a special needs beneficiary, and they spend a ton of time online looking up stuff, chatting with relatives across the country. They actually get a lot of online socialization out of it. But would a very comfortable gaming chair be considered a luxury? It very well could. I don't know. So it's a lot easier if it's coming out of a trust that's been set up for their benefit in the discretion of the trustee. They can say, yeah, this is useful. It's not what the program rules say are useful. And again, on death, the money goes back to the government to pay for the benefits. Now, this one isn't so much special needs as it is long-term care, but I thought it's worth mentioning. How many people here are familiar with the long-term care partnership programs for their particular state? Okay. The basic overview of these programs is, well, all right, if you purchase long-term care policies that have some kind of cash value, then we're not going to count that cash value if you need Medicaid to pay for nursing home care. Okay, sounds good to me. All right, but what are the specific program rules? I dug into North Carolina's, and I would never recommend this to my clients. Why? Because in Medicaid recovery in North Carolina, they can only go after probate assets.
If you think it's important for educational videos like this to get out there, then please help us out by subscribing to the channel.
If you have a $700,000 house, you've got 3 children, and you want to make sure Medicaid cannot put a lien against the house down the road. And I'm warning this, I think I might have mentioned it. Don't mention this outside of North Carolina. Your state may have it, but it's a really good chance it won't. We can sell 1% of the house to each child. So, all right, dad owns 97% of the house. The kids each own 1%, but the 4 of them are owning it as joint with the right of survivorship. So when dad passes on, it goes to the 3 children automatically. In North Carolina, that prevents Medicaid from putting a lien against the house. Okay. A lot of other states would say Medicaid can put a lien for up to 97% of the equity in the house. All right. If dad also had this $50,000 cash value in a long-term care policy under the partnership program and exempted that, Medicaid can go against all assets, including non-probate ones, so they can get to that house. So you really have to know those rules before just saying, oh yeah, let's go ahead and do this partnership program thing for long-term care. Right. So how exactly are you going to craft a plan that's going to be the best thing for your particular clients? Look, you review all the goals and the situation. And I always look at it and approach it as if I'm never going to see them again. I want them to come back every year to address their estate planning in general. And that's the other thing, is approach it as if you're planning for everything and this is just a component for special needs. But I'm going to assume they're never coming back. I want them to come back every year. They get their notices to come to their annual meeting. A lot of them don't. So if you build in all these different contingencies and what ifs down the road, especially with a special needs beneficiary, you should have a corporate trustee somewhere at the end of the line, especially if it's a special needs child. They may outlive all the people you've got listed as trustees. It's going to be good to have a trust company there. Always approach the planning as if eligibility rules are going to change. Don't be that clever attorney drafting it. Oh, well, you can get the house and you can get this car and you can get $2,000 and that's what we're going to give it to you. No, it's all in the discretion of the trustee. Let them see what the rules are at the time. And look at all the tools to see what fits best. Don't just have your clients talk you into doing a special needs trust or just do a special needs trust because that's what they're asking for, when what really makes the most sense, because they're the only ones leaving stuff to the beneficiary. Here's the revocable living trust. It's got all the language that you need. Let us know if the grandparents want to leave money or anybody else, and then we can address the issue again. All right, so we've got 3 cases we can play around with. Tell me what you think would be good in this. Right? Parents are doing the planning. They're married, 3 sons, age 17, 19, and 22. The youngest has moderate autism, so he can work, but when turning 18, he'd be eligible for disability and other programs on his own. He can't save too much. Again, there's some kind of limit on how much he can put away. He's never going to be 100% self-supporting. So it can't just be, yep, he's just going to go to work and earn enough money to take care of himself and get health insurance and all that other stuff. They want to provide every opportunity for their son to get the benefits he is entitled to, and no one else is likely to provide support. So how would you set this one up? So again, it's a 17-year-old that they're trying to protect right now.
Revocable living trust.
Revocable living trust.
Or you could, the life insurance, you could make him beneficiary of that policy.
Through the trust. Through the trust, right?
Through the trust.
Yeah, as a special distribution off the top if they want to give him more. What else? For me, this is when I look at the date of birth. Okay, we're going to set the appointment up for the day after they turn 18 so we can put in place their power of attorney and healthcare power of attorney
right.
as part of that.
Do his whole ancillary package for him.
Potentially. Again, I don't necessarily see a need for a will if all they're going to have is less than $2,000 and keep that. you're planning the contingencies for whatever's left in the trust if that child dies before the money's used. Okay. Case 2. The grandparents on mom's side have significant investments in real estate, not a lot of tax-deferred assets. All right. They've got one daughter who's married with 2 children, one grandchild has Down syndrome and will never work. They don't trust their son-in-law. How do they provide for their special needs grandchild as well as their daughter, and then eventually both children after the daughter's gone? But we're cutting out any potential for the son-in-law here. How would you set that up for the grandparents?
A revocable living trust and maybe a special needs.
Okay, revocable and special needs. I don't necessarily see a need for, say, an asset management trust for the daughter just because it's an only child.
She's gonna get it anyway.
Yeah, she's gonna get all of that. If there were more than one child, then we'd look at distributing to both of those children through the asset management trust, have the special needs trust for the grandchild so they can provide something to them. But then when mom passes on, the money can come from the asset management trust, no discretion on the daughter to leave it anywhere else, equally to the daughter's 2 kids. But for the one with Down syndrome, the money can go directly to the special needs trust. Case number 3, based on a true story, unfortunately. Mom/grandma, she's 75. She has a daughter that's disabled, is receiving benefits, and she's dependent on mom. That daughter has a daughter who's disabled with benefits and dependent on grandma. Son number 2 is a spendthrift with no kids. Son number 1, yeah, he's self-sufficient, but he has an adult special needs son. And the grandma is providing some support to that grandson, and she just has to keep all that going. So grandma has a consulting type of business, and she continues to work full-time. She tells me, I'm never gonna stop working no matter how exhausted she looks. And she needs to support everyone after she's gone. And something I don't think I put in there, she does have some significant tax-deferred money still. Even at 75, there's still a bunch that's in there. How are we setting this up? We set up IRA trusts for daughter, son 2, granddaughter through the daughter,
And special
grandson
needs.
through son number 1. And it was all in the hands of the trustee through the revocable trust. So we had all of these set up. And this was many years ago. Over the years, I think I'm just not going to leave any money to this grandchild because they have just been really rude to me lately. Oh, we need to get rid of this IRA trust. I never get rid of the IRA trust.
It's not funded until that time.
Exactly.
No harm, no foul.
So I said, look, just leave it sitting there, but now we're going to talk with your advisor. We're changing the beneficiary designations, so whatever was going to that granddaughter, we got to reallocate it somewhere else. And then we changed the provisions in the revocable trust. So guess what happens 3 years later? Oh, I've kind of reconciled with that granddaughter. Oh, do I need to set up a new IRA trust?
No, you left it open.
No, we left it there. We just have to change those as beneficiary designations.
Who did she make trustee of the revocable living trust?
Son number 1 was there. I think it was a niece was number 2, and then we had a trust company. She didn't have any other people. I usually try to look for 3 people, but then the trust company, I was like, after 2, it's directly to the trust company. So. All right, any questions? Special needs or otherwise? We've Still got a few minutes.
The equity in the house for Medicaid, that is actual equity, or is it fair market value? That's just the equity
The
that's in the
equity.
house.
Yeah. So if you've got a house and the value, the equity exceeds that limit, you can keep the house, but you've got to pull the equity out and spend it down and keep it below whatever the state says.
But
is
that's
that-
sheerly equity, the mortgage doesn't count. It's,
Oh, yeah, the mortgage doesn't count.
right.
The government only cares about what assets you have. They do not care about what debts you
That
have.
you have, yeah.
So if you have a $900,000 house, but there's a $200,000 balance on the mortgage, all the government's gonna look at is it's a $900,000 house. So, okay, you've got that debt, but still, just in general, they don't care about the debts. So
Okay,
most
so
of the
they are
time,
looking at the overall picture.
yeah, they're
yeah.
looking at the equity in it,
I
but
got you.
in general, when we're doing these types of plannings, especially if it's like Medicaid planning for seniors and talking about the potential 1% sales, it's like, yeah, we need to pay off that mortgage. One of the first things we look at in Medicaid planning is paying off the debt, because that'll still be around even if you qualify for it. There's less that's going to end up going to the family. Let's try to take care of that now. All right, so for resources, I've got my YouTube channel, free trust course. I didn't think I mentioned it yesterday. freemedicaidcourse.com also has my book, The Long-Term Care Solution, in there, same type of setup, and our much more extensive questionnaire. Specialneedsplanningwebinar.com. I actually have a evergreen webinar that's up there if you want to go through that and look through that. And again, my newsletter and the blog, you can get through all that at plainenglishattorney.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you.